Hello everyone, this is ICBs here and today we are talking about Fantastic Four, the movie that will be coming out soon by Marvel. And I just want to take a moment to ponder on the fact whether this movie will be a success or not, because before Marvel has released a couple of movies with a certain expectations that those movies will do very well, but unfortunately those expectations couldn't be further from the truth. Marvel released Captain America Brave New World and you might think of that as a mediocre movie, but from Marvel's perspective, it is an absolute banger that's going to be making $1 billion. Again, that didn't really happen. And then Marvel came up with Thunderbolts, and Marvel had this whole mystery going on with the name Thunderbolts, and then Marvel turned them into New Avengers. Marvel really thought they had a banger of a movie with them, but yeah, that also didn't really do well. Either these movies broke even or they lost a couple of money. I think Captain America Brave New World made somewhat of a profit, but now we have a third movie coming out and that is Fantastic Four. That's why I'm making this video, to wonder, like, Marvel had these expectations from movies that were coming out and we were like, okay, even I was like, hey, maybe these movies could do well. Especially with Thunderbolts, I was like, okay, this movie is definitely going to be making some money, but that didn't really happen. Even though I liked the movie alright, but it just didn't really reach that monetarily success, let's just say that. And now we have the third big movie that Marvel is releasing. And obviously the same expectations are here. Will this movie break the bank or, make Disney go broke, which is a really difficult and seems like an impossible thing to happen, but hey, what do you know, one of these days it could happen with so many failures from the house of Disney. And if you watched a couple of my videos, you know that I like to predict things, and sometimes I'm right, most of the times I'm wrong. I was right about the thing how Fantastic Four will come into our universe. I was right about that, hopefully, but yeah, Marvel definitely confirmed how that will be happening even before Fantastic Four is released, so I feel a little bit left out. But yeah, let's talk about predictions. I am predicting that Fantastic Four will do better than Captain America Brave New World and Thunderbolts. And it feels like a very easy thing to say. Like, obviously I do think that a lot of people out there think the same thing. That's why I'm making easy predictions, people. I don't have any superpower, although I wish I did. But yeah, I definitely think that Fantastic Four is going to do better than those two other movies, and I'm going to explain why. And the reason why I think that is because I think that this movie has better legs to stand on compared to the other two movies. When it comes to Captain America Brave New World, I just don't think a lot of people were into the idea of Sam Wilson as Captain America. I just think that Chris Evans did such a good job that his face is synonymous with Captain America. So when Marvel makes Sam Wilson the new Captain America, I think a lot of people just feel a bit left out and disenfranchised. Plus, Marvel never really showed a really good villain, or we never really knew what the stakes were in this movie except for Red Hulk showing up. I do think Red Hulk definitely helped the box office of this movie, but I just don't think it was enough. Let's talk about Thunderbolts, and this movie feels like an even more of an unfortunate situation compared to the previous movie, because in this movie there are a lot of these side characters from the previous movies that a lot of people either didn't care about or unfortunately I don't think that most people even remember them. I do think that Yelena is more popular than other characters, but I just don't think that she had the star power to attract people into coming into the theater. And Marvel revealed the fact that these guys are the new Avengers after this movie is released, so I don't think a lot of people even knew, or maybe the news just came too late, so people just didn't really care. So yeah, this movie, a lot of unknown characters, and I don't think that aside from hardcore Marvel fans, a lot of people cared. Now let's come to Fantastic Four and why I think that this movie is going to do better than the previous two movies. Like I said, that this movie has a better leg to stand on compared to the other two movies, and I'm only saying that because of the previous movies that came out, and I'm talking about 2010's Fantastic Four movies. Yeah, those really funny ones. I think a lot of people remember them. I remember watching them when I was a kid, and I ate it up. I really enjoyed those movies. And I think a lot of other people did as well. I think a lot of the other people that were watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man were also watching the 2000s Fantastic Four movies. So I do think that the upcoming Fantastic Four movie has some nostalgia factor baked into it. So I do think that a lot of the people who were adults or young people at the time who when they watched those movies are now either older and still able to go to the movie theater, and people who were young at the time are also now older. So the name Fantastic Four is out there, so people know who these characters are, and that's the big thing that the previous two Marvel movies just didn't really have. Yes, people know about Captain America, but I just don't think that people were that much interested about Sam Wilson's Captain America. But so far I'm tackling the idea of whether this movie is success monetarily. Whether this movie is good or not is up for debate. I do think that whenever there comes a time for these big blockbuster movies, studios tend to be very risk averse. They don't want to take unnecessary risks that could potentially disenfranchise a group of people. So I don't think that they're going to be trying anything funny with this new Fantastic Four movie. I do think that Fantastic Four could be a really by the numbers movie, just like, Superman. Superman feels like a blockbuster movie that just came out and it's just out there to please everyone. And on the other hand, Fantastic Four, I do think that it's going to try and achieve the same goals, because it's going to try and appease everyone, and it's going to try and aim for making as much money as possible, which is, the usual goal of big studios. So yeah, I guess that's a very long-winded video of me explaining why I think that Fantastic Four could do better than the previous two movies. But that said, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, it's time for a goodbye.